Yes. For what? Just call it. Well, I need to know what it is we're calling here. How would that change anything? The man looked at Chigurh's eyes for the first time. Blue as lapis, at once glistening and totally opaque, like wet stones. You need to call it, Chigurh said. I can't call it for you. It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't even be right. Just call it. I didn't put nothing up. Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what the date is on this coin? No. It's 1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And I'm here. And I've got my hand over it. And it's either heads or tails. And you have to say, call it. I don't know what it is I stand to win. In the blue light, the man's face was beaded thinly with sweat. He licked his upper lip. You stand to win everything, Chigurh said. Everything. You ain't making any sense, mister. Call it. Heads, then. Chigurh uncovered the coin. He turned his arm slightly for the man to see. Well done, he said. He picked the coin from his wrist and handed it across. What do I want with that? Take it. It's your lucky coin. I don't need it. Yes, you do. Take it. The man took the coin. I got to close now, he said. Don't put it in your pocket. Sir, don't put it in your pocket. Where do you want me to put it? Don't put it in your pocket. You won't know which one it is. All right. Anything can be an instrument, Chigurh said. Small things. Things you wouldn't even notice. They pass from hand to hand. People don't pay attention. And then one day there's an accounting. And after that, nothing is the same. Well, you say. It's just a coin, for instance. Nothing special there. What could that be an instrument of? You see the problem. To separate the act from the thing. As if the parts of some moment in history might be interchangeable with the parts of some other moment. How could that be? Well, it's just a coin. Yes, that's true. Is it? Chigurh cupped his hand and scooped his change from the counter into his palm and put the change in his pocket and turned and walked out the door. The proprietor watched him go, watched him get into the car. The car started and pulled off from the gravel apron onto the highway south. The lights never did come on. He laid the coin on the counter and looked at it. He put both hands on the counter and just stood leaning there with his head bowed. When he got to Dryden, it was about 8 o'clock. He sat at the intersection in front of Condra's feed store, with the lights off and the motor running. Then he turned the lights on and pulled out on Highway 90, headed east. The white marks at the side of the road when he found them looked like surveyor's marks, but there were no numbers, just the chevrons. He marked the mileage on the odometer and drove another mile and slowed and turned off the highway. He shut off the lights and left the motor running and got out and walked down and opened the gate and came back. He drove across the bars of the cattle guard and got out and closed the gate again and stood there listening. Then he got in the car and drove out down the rutted track. He followed a south-running fence, the ford wallowing over the bad ground. The fence was just an old remnant, 3 wires strung on mesquite posts. In a mile or so, he came out on a gravel plain where a Dodge Ram Charger was parked facing toward him. He pulled slowly alongside it and shut down the engine. The Ram Charger's windows were tinted so dark they looked black. Chigurh opened the door and got out. A man got out on the passenger side of the Dodge and folded the seat forward and climbed into the rear. Chigurh walked around the vehicle and got in and shut the door. "Let's go," he said. "Have you talked to him?" the driver said. "No. He don't know what's happened." "No. Let's go." They rolled out across the desert in the dark. "When do you aim to tell him?" the driver said. "When I know what it is that I'm telling him." When they came to Moss's truck, Chigurh leaned forward to study it. "Is that his truck?" "That's it. Plates is gone. Pull up here. Have you got a screwdriver? Look in the jockey box there." Chigurh got out with the screwdriver and walked over to the truck and opened the door. He pried the aluminum inspection plate off of the rivets inside the door and put it in his pocket, and came back and got in and put the screwdriver back in the glove box. "Who cut the tires?" he said. "It wasn't us." Chigger nodded. "Let's go," he said. They parked some distance from the trucks and walked down to look at them. Chigger stood there a long time. It was cold out on the burial, and he had no jacket, but he didn't seem to notice. The other two men stood waiting. He had a flashlight in his hand, and he turned it on and walked among the trucks and looked at the bodies. The two men followed at a small distance. "Whose dog?" Chigger said. "We don't know."